Hey guys, Adam Rose, Vice President and Senior Loan Officer of Western Ohio Mortgage here in Sydney, Ohio. Today is another episode of the Mortgage Guy Podcast, and it is holiday season. And so I want to kind of touch up on that, and we have another season coming up after the holidays, and we call that the fun tax season. So we got Uncle Sam digging into our back pockets here shortly, and we're going to talk about how to set yourself up a little bit and get in a better position for buying a house in the spring as well. But holidays, why is this such a big deal and an issue? Well, a couple things. First off, if you're a homeowner, all right, or you're selling your home and it is vacant, please make sure your utilities are on. I just ran into a couple of problems with some pipes and freezing, and got to get plumbing repaired on some properties. So just make sure that's good to go. One of those little things that you don't think of when you're selling a house, or if you're a buyer and you're looking at a vacant home, make sure that heat's on, the utilities are on or operating. Make sure you don't run any issues. But holiday season means we're all spending money, right? If you are currently in the process, just kind of like how I reminded you guys before on Black Friday coming up, do not take out any new credit cards, please. Okay? We're going to see it. We're going to find it. It's going to happen, all right? There's no dodging it. There's no hiding it. We set you up on something at the very, very beginning of the process that's monitoring your credit. So anytime someone pulls it, we get a little ding, and it's going to tell us whether it's just an inquiry, what the inquiry was for, credit card, auto, what it was. Did you take out something new? If it does, it's going to give us the limit. It's going to give us the opening balance. It's going to give us all this stuff. Well, we have to add that to your debt ratio, right? And that can cause some problems. Could kick your debt ratio out of range. I don't know. Maybe you're buying using FHA financing. You're at a 50%, something stupid high, and it kicks you over, right? It's very possible because when we're running your file through these different agencies, your findings, we've talked about that before, manual underwriting versus automated approvals, can change with the slightest movement in income, debt obligations, assets, anything. So we don't want to upset that apple cart. So do me a favor and don't take out anything new. And then you might be thinking to yourself, well, I've got a solution to that. Instead of a new credit card, I'm going to do Klarna or Affirm or something along those lines. Well, that too can be a problem, okay? As we've talked about in the past, we talked about undisclosed debt obligations that we find in bank statements. These constant recurring payments to Affirm and Klarna, PayPal extends. There's a couple of different companies out there that do them. If you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, this holiday season, if you're out there and you spend a bunch of money, let's say, I don't know, you go to Walmart.com and you spend $400. At checkout, they're going to give you an option to extend that $400 over 6 months. Some are even longer, saying that they're not going to charge you any interest unless you go past a certain period of time. And sounds good, right? I mean, we can break that $400 over 6 months, make it a little bit more feasible for us. And the problem is we find it in the bank statements as a recurring payment. We have to add that into your debt ratio. So make sure those Affirms, those Klarnas are all cleaned up before you apply for a mortgage, or if you're in the middle of the process, don't think that is a way to get around the new credit card debt obligations that I just talked about. All right, just kind of stay away from it, please. That'd be very helpful. Okay, so after we get through the holidays and we get into the new year, the worst time of the year is around us, and that is tax season. So there's a couple of good things, a couple of bad things, right? Bad things are self-employed borrowers filing taxes, owing taxes. You know, do you owe Uncle Sam? What's the situation? Well, if you do and you feel like you're going to owe, do yourself a favor and your lender a favor. When you file your taxes, if you are not able to pay the actual tax bill in full, let's say you owe $5,000 and you just can't do it. Instead of just filing your taxes and ignoring it, okay, on your tax filing, if you use a CPA, whoever, or even if you do it on TurboTax, I think there's an option. Make sure at the very end that you submit the application for a payment agreement, okay? I'm not overly confident on all the rules associated with that in regards to how much they'll accept. But I mean, we've had people that owe money and they set up a $25 payment arrangement on their tax filing and it was acceptable, okay? So it's $50 a month, $100 a month, whatever it is. But if you can't handle the full tax bill and we get your tax and wage or your tax transfers back from the IRS and it shows that you owe X, or we get a copy of your tax filing, your 1040, and we show that you owe $5,000, we're going to ask you, hey, did you pay this tax bill? If you say no, we got to do something with it. We either got to pay it or we have to have an acceptable payment arrangement with the IRS. So make it easier on yourself and just do it on the filing. Do it on the filing, okay? Save you a lot of time, a lot of headache. So let's get through that. But yeah, so tax season, a lot of people are extremely excited for it. People have a lot of kids, right? You might get a decent refund back, and this is a perfect time to start shopping for a home. There's your down payment, okay? But let's say you're not going to use it for a down payment. You have other things that you want to do with that money. I'm not saying go spend it. What I'm saying is you can make, if you are shopping for a home, you can make your offer look more attractive, right? Whether you're putting more money down, whether you want to give earnest money, whether you have the ability to cover your own closing cost expense to make your offer look more attractive versus other offers that are going in on the property. You could pay off debt, right? Wow, what a novel idea. Let's pay down some debt instead of just adding and adding and adding. Let's pay it down. That might help affordability, okay? Like we've talked about before, there's two ratios when we're qualifying you on your debt ratio. There's the housing ratio, which is very hard to change. The only way you're going to change it is you're buying less house or more house, whatever, right? Less or more house, or you're making more income or less income, whatever. So that's the only thing that's changing the housing ratio. But let's say we don't have a housing ratio issue and we just have a total debt ratio issue. By paying off a small auto loan that has, a $4,000 or $5,000 remaining balance, but it's a $300 payment, that can unload a significant amount of debt and disposable income and help you qualify for a lot more house. So if that's something that you're facing, we need to look at that. So what I would tell you before you start filing your taxes this year is think about, if you are going to be jumping in the market, what are you planning on doing with that money? Are we going to sit we're not going to sit in the safe. Don't do that, okay? We're going to sit in a bank account, let it grow while we shop for a home and let it accumulate. Is it going to be a rainy day fund? What are we going to do with it? Have a plan associated, because a lot of people get this tax refund and they immediately just want to go spend it, right? Try to refrain from doing that if you can, all right? But that's what I got, just some tips there. You can use it for in a lot of different ways to help your buying power and your negotiations on homes, all right? To make your offer look a little bit more attractive so you can get in a home next spring. Okay, that's it for this episode, guys. Just a couple of tips and tricks on holiday season and tax season. Remember to subscribe on YouTube. Check us out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We'll catch you all next week.